Every year for the past 5 years, Kalie and I have tracked our expenses around February or March to give you our cost of living in Portugal so that it could give you an indication of how you should set your budget.
Now, of course, there are going to be some items that are highly variable and dependent on your lifestyle. So some of those will be obvious in our video, and we'll try to indicate them as we go along.
That's right, and this video is by no means us wanting to come off as ostentatious. Although just by using a word like ostentatious, it's a little showy. But seriously though, we weren't trying to actively save money or do anything ultra lavish or do some challenge. We were simply living life and documenting each time an expense occurred chronologically.
Here's how our 31 days went, and at the end, let's discuss how it compares to the previous 4 years, where lifestyle creep hit us, if we've saved anywhere, and what you can expect moving to Portugal in 2025.
All right, so here comes the first set of expenses. I've got to head into the grocery store. I'm going into a continent to get some items for dinner tonight and then also a science experiment for Sia. All right, we'd like to bring you into the grocery stores whenever we step into them and have these expenses so that you can see what prices are like and what offerings and availabilities are like in the grocery stores that we visit.
I have fallen in love with this Portuguese sparkling water, which we order online. Sia and I are out running errands. We've got a few things to get, birthday gifts, some stuff for Daddy, patches for his pants, and shoes for Sia. Oh, and she got a little surprise as well.
At the beginning of the month, we top up our transportation cards. This is how we're able to do it now. We use an app and we're able to actually scan our cards and top up each one of them individually. All right, so we woke up this morning to do dishes and we have a clogged drain. So popped into Continent to try to solve this drain problem. Well, that didn't work. So I had to head to another Continent because I felt like we needed a plunger. And while there at that Continent, you know, I knew that they had some good deodorant, so I popped over, grabbed some deodorant, and found that plunger. Let's see. Drain's fixed.
Well, while Josh was fixing the drain, I took Sia to a birthday party at Kalie, which is an indoor play area. And while there, a few of the parents grabbed coffees. Josh finally joined us, and we had 3 coffees in total. Sia had a birthday party this morning, and so we're finished with that, and now we are out to lunch with friends.
With the friends.
Sia has a monthly Bluey app, so that charge came through on this day.
All right, so I've got a small list that Kalie gave me to pick up for groceries. We've got some friends over, the kids are playing, and we're just gonna have some snacks while we hang out and chat as adults, do the adulting thing. So let's see how much that bill is. Just get a quick dinner.
Uplifting type podcast when you fall asleep. So you have good
I listen to enough podcasts when I fall asleep at night.
It's a holiday today, so we're off to the park Covello for Sia to play. And then, of course, we can't go to Covello without getting something, usually ice cream.
Oh man, I feel like I'm in a bad rotation with our groceries. Headed to the store again to pick up a few items. Now, this one in particular, I normally go to Continents, but we need a few things specifically that we like at Pingados. So I'm headed there, and then I'll do dinner.
We're going to a doctor's appointment.
Yep, and we're taking a car. It's raining, plus it's a little tricky to get there. Let's go. Hop in. Hop in quickly. Go, go, go. This appointment is for Sia's scheduled 5-year-old vaccinations. And to be honest, afterwards she was feeling pretty sensitive. So we went to get some ice cream. Fortunately, she chose something pretty healthy. Strawberry sorbet.
Back at the grocery store, which feels never ending, but you know what? We gotta eat.
Make sure.
All right, look at this mess. I'll have to get my hair cut. My guy Tiago, inflation has gotten us, but it's only 12 euros, so only €1 more from last year.
I'm going to get my ears clear.
Today we're filming in Gondomar, so of course we stopped to eat lunch, and we stumbled across this cute little Portuguese place that had good food, good prices, so let's show you what that is. I got one of my favorite dishes, alheada, and Josh got braised pork cheek. Of course, we have to have it with a superbach and then finish it off with a coffee. I picked up a few things for Sia's newly pierced ears. We also needed toothpaste and then 20 euros for a field trip.
Okay, so this is Luxembourg, and we're not going to include all of the expenses that we incurred while we were in Luxembourg because, truth be told, it was a work trip, so they're work expenses. However, we don't want to have a void sitting in our monthly expenses. So we're showing you a grocery store that we popped into for snacks. We got some stuff. We did not get these Lucky Charms. Look at that price. It's crazy. We also wanted to include one meal out because that's realistic for us to go out at least once during the weekend.
Josh picked up breakfast just for us to eat at the hotel, and then we went out to dinner to a Thai place. But notice the price here. In Portugal, it definitely would have been about half this.
Our last expense to note while in Luxembourg is our dinner on March 10th, and we grabbed it at the airport. Now, it's probably about double what we would pay in Portugal, although prices are going up at the airports.
We have some friends in town, so Josh picked up some wine to have them over. But before that, we met them at a beer place. They picked up that tab, and then we picked up food to take home, and we got that. I met a friend at our favorite coffee roaster, So Coffee Roasters, and sometimes they have these amazing cinnamon rolls, so I definitely had to get one while I was there.
All right, we are off to dinner with some patrons and friends of ours. Everybody kind of wanted Mexican. Kalie found on the Fork, which is an app that we can use to make reservations, that there's a discount at the Mexican restaurant that we wanted to eat at. So we get 30% off of all a la carte food. It's great. Use it. Good to save money. The Fork.
There's a theme here, more coffee, but this time at a place called Kiwa Cafe. We have like zero groceries, so we're gonna make a really big run to Continents. Let's see how much it costs.
Two baskets.
It's a lot.
I don't remember the last time we did two baskets.
No, it's been a while. Okay, Sia and I are running a couple errands. I have to go to Sephora, and then we're gonna pick up something special for her.
Direction.
All right, so Valencia got invited to a sleepover, so Kalie and I are going to the match, and we're about an hour before kickoff, which is rare. So
We're here early.
So we're gonna grab a beer with some friends before the match. Let's do it. Porto.
After the game, we headed to Serafeta to see what good places there were for dinner. And we came across this Indian place that we all had seen but never tried. So we all went in and tried it together. The night is young, and so are we. Well, at least today we are, because we don't have our daughter who's spending the night at a friend's house. So after dinner, we decided to go out for drinks.
We ended up grabbing a bottle of wine here at Funk. We picked it up. We love Em and Gabe, so it was our treat.
I'm hanging out with a friend, and so I picked up a bottle of wine to take over, so that's €5. A friend of a friend was getting rid of some costume stuff that her daughter's grown out of. She is really into that, so I picked up a few of those for her.
All right, I'm back on the fitness journey, so I had to pick up some creatine to help those gains.
Daddy is in Lisbon, so Sia and I stopped after school to get some ice cream and color.
Our friends that we had kebabs with are still in town. We love spending time with these people. Shout out to Eric and Wendy. So Kalie found a really nice place on the Fork again that had a discount. So we decided to pick up a nice, long sit-down meal at this spot right here.
Tonight is taco night, so we run to the store and we pick up those ingredients because we're having friends over for dinner. We eat dinner at home, and the plan is for their daughter, who's old enough to stay with Sia, to babysit her while we go to a live music event.
Here we are at Tipografia du Conte to see Joseph Arthur, an American artist that was coming through town after doing a European tour. The music was phenomenal. He had some really cool tricks up his sleeve to produce a one-man show.
I'll be quiet. I won't wake you up. Other voices, there goes creation, there goes the moon. Unless you're gonna fall, then you're gonna die.
For an event like this, the drinks were super reasonable and they worked off a ticket system where you paid at the end.
Okay, so we found ourselves shooting in Figueiredo de Foz to do a city guide for you all, and we needed to grab lunch. We grabbed this really big lunch for a really reasonable price, and it even was finished off with a bit of dessert. Sia's favorite, mousse de chocolat.
Grocery store run because a trip is never complete without snacks, especially with a 5-year-old.
And we're back in Porto, and I'm having to grab some breakfast items. All right, so Kalie has taken Valencia to swimming lessons, and she sent me a list to go to the grocery store to pick some stuff up. The list is much larger than a couple items, so I hope I don't forget anything. Let's step into the continent again.
Marie, ils sont dehors.
We have one more chance to hang out with our friends Eric and Wendy before they leave Portugal again, so we head to Nortada, which is a microbrewery, and actually this is one of the first places that Josh, Sia, and I hung out at kind of during COVID times when not much was open and we lived really close. It's changed a lot. The staff then was so amazing, and they're still really good, but it's changed a lot. But we still like to go there because the beer is good, the food is good, the atmosphere is nice, especially for sports. And actually, they're on the Fork, and I swear this video is not sponsored by the Fork, but we like to use the Fork a lot. So they're
Although if they would like to sponsor us, we'll take it.
So we got a percentage off. So we really like this place. It's an easy one to go to.
Well, apparently salad was a bad choice. We got a little bit of a sweet tooth, and we still have a bit of work to do. Starbucks next door, so we hit it up shamelessly.
If you haven't noticed yet, we love cafes. So here we are at Kiwa Cafe, and spoiler alert, we have a few more days to log, and this is not the last cafe. We're friends with Emily, and she has a cafe, but she's opened up the Porto Bakehouse. Today's the first day, so we are here to check it out and get something yummy.
All right, so maybe we're being a little more social compared to other months, but it's because we're about to leave to go back to the US for a few weeks. So we're cramming in a lot of social visits with friends. Here we are having drinks and dinner, and would you believe it, but we booked it for 50% off on the Fork. All right, Sia, what are we doing?
We're getting Doritos, popcorn.
Doritos, not burritos.
Doritos, popcorn, and we're getting some drinks for a movie.
Movie night.
Movie night.
So we got to go to the grocery store.
Movie night is ready.
Sia has a school project, so we head to the store to pick up some supplies. So let's see what we get for that, and then sometimes when we go out, we let her pick out something special. What did you get?
Sunglasses.
Era sopa, pronto.
Água.
Água. Fala muito bem. Sem açúcar. Sim, ela porta-se bem.
Sia and I just got our hair cuts. €37. Showing your hair. Looks good.
All right, so when we first moved here, 2021, when we first started tracking our expenses like this, it was €2,429.57. So it's gone up significantly since then, but it's because we've started to incur a lot more expenses. We now have Valencia in a school, so right there.
Kids are expensive.
Rent, rent actually back then was pretty similar, but it was COVID time. We didn't have as many friends, so that
We weren't
social
going out
aspect of going out was
as much,
totally
yeah.
different.
Yeah, so food and beverage out was definitely lower.
Yeah. Now, this month compared to 2023 is pretty similar.
Yeah, but so 2024, it was less actually. So we spent more this year than 2024, but about the same as 2023.
Exactly.
So what's the big change between 2023 and 2024 for us?
Well, I think we had in 2023, we had some travel related expenses. I know in 23 and 24, we had a little more with like sports and entertainment.
Okay.
There were some more like big soccer matches that we went to.
Yeah.
Whereas this year that didn't pop up, at least not in the month of March or the month that we recorded this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, the main things, and we're just going to kind of compare it to last year to look at maybe what inflation did or where lifestyle creep hit us. We moved to this amazing apartment that we're still paying way less than we probably should. Actually, I know that.
Yeah, but more than we did.
But more than we did. And that's a real expense. Like we've incurred that as a real expense. So that went up.
Yeah. I think also, too, we have to be mindful of with work, we travel. So some of that is hard to kind of gauge whether we should add food that we're doing. Because we obviously when we're here, we don't eat out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But when
Yeah.
you travel, you tend to, unless you get an Airbnb or something. So when we travel for work, we have to be mindful of how much would we actually spend. So that's also something that's kind of tricky for us. So while it looks like we didn't have any travel this month, we did have travel, but it was work and we added a little bit. So that you'll have to be aware of how much you want in your travel budget and what that looks like for eating out while you're traveling.
Yeah, for sure. And just to give you an example, you can get flights for around 50 to 80 euros per person to a place like London, even Luxembourg. Just be really, I guess, how do I put it? Be really flexible with your travel dates and times. And like if you're retired or you have a remote job like we do, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the next line item that we talk about is healthcare. And we've actually lowered our healthcare costs. We didn't have any sort of healthcare event. We did have Valencia's regularly scheduled shots, but that's covered by the public system.
Yep.
So we were able to lower our insurance by using
An insurance broker.
An insurance broker.
So what we
yeah.
did is our policy kept going up, and we thought, well, let's see if we can find something else. And we went through an insurance broker who are Portuguese, and they're actually friends now. And they helped us get not only lower health insurance, but then we also were able to add disability and life insurance. And still, it's all lower for the three of us per month than it was last year.
Yeah. I hope we do not have to use that life insurance. Okay, so tithe stayed the same, more or less. The bills doubled. Let's talk about that. And
Well,
I'm not
now-
talking about Buffalo Bills.
Shout out to your brother-in-law.
No.
Yeah. I would say one thing is we've added gas. It seems funny saying that.
Kaylee's pretty gassy as is.
I've not added that. That's always been.
Yeah.
No, we added gas here, so that is an extra expense.
At the apartment that we're in, we've added gas. That's an extra expense. But we also are paying more with electricity, which makes no sense because this place should be more efficient with
Solar panels.
Now, granted, it's not been particularly sunny this month, but it's not been bad weather either. It's just not been sunny. Now,
Maybe it'll even it out.
we're
then.
not sure if we've got everything running the right way.
That's the other thing. It's a
And it's
completely new
bigger.
building.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even still, it's bigger, but we're not running heat or air. We haven't needed to do that, barely any.
Yeah.
And so it's bigger, but we don't necessarily keep more lights on or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's still we're trying to figure things out since it's a new building.
Okay, the other thing that we have to talk about is in our old apartment, the internet and the TV was included, and then here we're paying that in addition.
Yeah, so that was an extra cost, I guess you could say. So when
Yeah.
we said rent last year, it included that, and now it does not.
Exactly.
So a few extra bills, monthly bills that have been added.
Now, the one that you're probably really excited to hear, groceries, it went up by about 10%.
Yeah, which actually that surprised me because I think at our last place I used to order groceries a lot. Mainly that's what I did on a weekly basis. I feel like I was spending around €100 and then little odds and ends that we would get. So in my mind, I was thinking it was around €500 last year. And I thought it would be less because we live closer to a grocery store now, so we don't have to do the...
So we don't have to eat as often?
Well, no, I mean, I think... I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought that it would be less, maybe because we weren't doing delivery. Because sometimes you think delivery might be some higher prices for things.
Sure.
But maybe because we're closer to the grocery store, we're there more often. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I honestly think that this seems like a pretty reasonable amount that it went up. And plus, we started maybe buying a few more things that are a little more expensive.
Yeah.
You know, but nothing crazy. Transportation, though, as a little bit of an offset, transportation went down 10% because we started taking ride shares less often because we had the transportation passes. Monthly transportation passes.
Instead of like doing like the adding 10 rides or whatever.
Yeah,
Monthly,
so it's like it's already paid for.
Yeah, so yeah, that's true.
And then, as I mentioned
I will
earlier,
say one other thing too. It
Please.
felt like for transportation, it was a bit of a drier winter as well.
Yes.
So two things: we didn't have to take as many cars to take Sia, but also because of where we live now, we take the bus anyway. So and it's nearby. So where we used to walk her to school, like in the stroller, you couldn't walk if it was raining, so you had to take a car.
Correct.
Now, even if it's raining, unless it's like pouring, but even if it's raining, she's older, so we just rain boots, umbrella, can walk to the bus stop. So even more so now, we don't need to be taking ride shares like Uber or Bolt to get to school.
Correct. Okay. So entertainment, we already discussed that it was a 50% reduction, but it was just like less happening this month.
Yeah, less.
And then we also caught some free stuff. You know, that concert, amazing.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay, food and beverage. So food and beverage is up 10%. But we actually think that's partially due to the Luxembourg trip.
Yeah.
So Luxembourg is definitely more expensive for food and beverage, but we did want to include those things because we think that if we were here in Porto at the time, we would have been going out at that frequency. And then obviously you saw we bought some groceries while there.
Yeah.
And the groceries were more expensive
more
too.
Expensive,
which you can actually check out that video on Expats Everywhere Explores, and that video should be out by now.
But that's one thing. I mean, socially for us, I think that we're always going to have more in the food and beverage out rather than entertainment because we don't necessarily do concerts very often, or we do sports. That's the one entertainment thing that we do, but we don't go out to movies or things like that. We prefer the more social aspect with friends of food and beverage out. So for us, that side's always going to be a little more. And I think every year people are like, you guys eat out so much, but it's like, it's what we do socially with friends.
Yeah.
It's not just us two going out. We
Correct.
can do that as well.
Yeah,
but,
it's kind of rare though.
Yeah.
It might happen a couple times a month.
Yeah.
But we're usually meeting up
with
with people.
It's a social thing that we do.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Sia's expenses doubled. and we kind of took a look at it and figured out a couple reasons why. One is that last year her extracurriculars were a birthday/Christmas gift from grandparents.
Okay.
So that expense didn't exist.
But those are still very affordable. I was looking at it thinking like €70 for her to do 3 different activities and each of them are once a week. Like that's a really good price. So for those of you with kids, you will have the extracurricular expense, but I think that it'll probably be a lot less than what you're used to in your home country, especially if you're in the U.S.
Correct. And then the other thing, just to highlight, is the ear piercing is like one off.
Yeah. They've healed very well. So, of course, they're good. So, she won't need to get that again. So, but yeah, the different things that you do with kids, or that could have been with us as well. Not ear piercing necessarily, unless you want to get your ears pierced.
I don't.
But like the one-off thing that you don't do very often, but, if you want to do it, you have to have it in the budget.
Yeah. So here's the bright side. If you don't have any kids living at home, boom, you've just saved like €400 to €700 a month. And that's not including the food that it takes to feed a kid.
It's just the overall expenses of having a kid.
Yes. So personal grooming, consistent. It's consistent month to month, how much hair and nails and all that stuff is. And then home cleaning. Now, we didn't get our house cleaned this month. It's a wreck. It's so dirty.
We're getting ready to travel.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So now that we're in this bigger place, it costs us $40. The old place, it was $30. But we found here, we don't get it cleaned as often because it stays cleaner. Like the air
not as dusty,
it's
yeah.
not as dusty. The air
Yeah.
is purer, or whatever's happening with the AC
The
units.
circulation.
The
The
circulation's
circulation
way
probably
better.
does better than filtration. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little easier to just do quick clean. I think also too, since there's a little more space, it's less like you have to move stuff around to clean the floors. It's very easy to just kind of quick vacuum and everything. So
You're not bumping into walls.
yeah, you're not taking the time to have to move stuff to then do it. So it's a little easier to just be like, it's a little messy. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
If you're ready to move to Portugal, but you don't know exactly where you should live, then check out this video right here to find the perfect city for you. And don't forget to subscribe right here. Now, let's get moving.
Bye.